Good morning.
Good morning.
We're in Sydney, Australia.
It's beautiful.
I'm with my best friend in the whole entire world, Chris West.
I know, finally syncing back up. It's like I moved to China and nobody sees me anymore. So you had to come visit me.
I know. Came over here. You're the VP of Asia. What does that mean?
So I run the Asia Pacific region. That's going to be for us, South Korea, all the way down to Australia. Originally it was going to be Asia, but I selfishly, loved the team here and was like, it should be Asia Pacific. So, and then the VP title, doesn't mean much other than we just get to work and work hard every day.
What you been doing, man? You left the United States. You
Yeah.
left all of your real friends. How is it in China not being able to speak Chinese?
I have a great interpreter. No, I mean, it's 2025, so pretty much any country or city you go to, between your Google Translate and people do. I do feel blessed that we grew up speaking English because that's a universal language. So it hasn't been too bad. It is funny as I jump between, let's say, Tokyo with Japanese and Thailand with Thai and then back to China. You would think that I understand the language as I try to still engage in these conversations. So if you're talking to me in Chinese, I'm nodding and I'm going, oh. I have no idea what they're saying, but it looks like I'm engaged, and then the interpreter
Say
tells
hello
me.
in Chinese.
Ni hao,
And then Japan.
konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
And then in Thai is sawadee ka.
Sawadika.
Yeah, sawadee ka.
How do you say hello in Australia?
In
Hello.
Australia, cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate. So what did we do here? We came out here and supported the Aussies for
Their dealer conference.
their
Yeah.
dealer conference. Yeah, it was. I mean, the energy was pretty good. What did you think?
Australia's great. I kept saying this throughout the event that if only it was a few hours away, we would be here, every month. It's similar to North America. They like their cars, they like their engines. They're still V8 guys. They like to have a good time. They're drinking beer on Friday afternoon. But then from our business side, there's so much growth opportunity. Sometimes for us in North America, we feel like, we're stepping on each other's toes and it's super saturated. And you come down here and, my favorite thing was land at an airport, right? And look at all the cars. And I'm like, I don't see PPF on anything.
Or tint?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the tinting market in Australia seems to be a lot bigger, but the potential for paint protection is just absolutely huge.
Huge. Well, and even in the tint market, right? And in Asia too, anywhere we find heat, we're going to find tint. But then to come in and not see anybody capitalized on that's why I say there's opportunity, right?
Huge opportunity. A lot of the guys here are so eager for knowledge and experience. They're the guys that I started out 30 years ago. They go get a garage. They start tinting windows with a buddy. Next thing you know, it's two buddies in a garage tinting windows 10 years later. And they're like, what do you mean we can open up another store? What do you mean we can hire? What the hell is a plotter? Like, really? I like hand cutting. What I found in Australia is unbelievable how similar it was to the US 10 years ago when people were like, plotters?
Yep.
I'm a real tinter.
Yep.
I hand cut everything. I'm an artist.
Yep.
Well, there's struggling artists out there.
Yeah.
There's people that are going broke painting and sitting in rooms
Right.
and drawing. And
Right.
they're like, bro, there's a computer over there that can
Right. Yeah. 100%. And that's the beauty of, business. We can a lot of times just look at history or look at somebody else that's further ahead of us. And in Alaska, I always felt like all I have to do is look down at what we call the lower 48.
Yeah.
And then I'd go, well, what's successful in California? Because that's not in Alaska yet.
Yeah.
And they can replicate that. And that's what we try to bring to these guys, right?
So one thing I want to ask you, how hard of a transition was it for you to go from the US to like, oh shit, I live in freaking Asia now. And you live in Shanghai.
Yeah, in Shanghai, which is I'm in a beautiful spot downtown, the Huangpu River. It's like my evening view is a postcard of all the Shanghai lights. But I lived in Brazil, as you know, when I was 19
Right.
for 2 years, and so that got me used to being in a foreign place, foreign language. So and I enjoyed that after the 2 years, and then with all the traveling that I've done, and then not really having my own family. In my head, it wasn't necessarily, oh, I'm moving. It felt more like just a long business trip.
So it was so funny. You left a year, almost a
half
year and a half ago, right? And you looked at me and you go, bro, the next time you see me, I'm probably going to have two little kids. I'm going to be running around with some little Asian, and you do have a girlfriend now.
I do.
Which is impressive. Like, if everyone I've ever talked to that knows you over the last 10 years, they're like, dude, Chris West actually He's actually normal now. He's actually got a little girl.
Getting there. I don't know, not completely normal yet, but
Yeah.
yeah.
So what's your biggest challenge over there?
Um, Probably my biggest challenge. What is my biggest challenge? That's a good question. Um, I, I would. It's not. I wouldn't say business related. Like I see opportunity everywhere, even in China. Which
Okay.
for people to know, China in our industry has the most potential. They say almost $1 billion in revenue or sales between PPF and tint. That's huge. $1 billion US. But it's a very competitive, low price, saturated market. But I see opportunity there. So I would say the biggest challenge for me is probably personal as I deal with my own, what am I doing? I still live on the road, and am I going to stay in Asia? Do I miss the U.S.? And I just, think about that. So
If you're in the US
yeah,
and you look at China, everyone has a different perspective of what they think Chinese culture and Chinese people are.
mm,
Now, when you go to China and you do PPF, there's no such thing as a full front end. It's a full car.
correct.
Now, explain to
Full
me.
car and every piece of
So,
trim on
so
it.
tell the United States audience when you did a full car,
Mm.
how many people are working in a facility, how fast they can do it, what the quality like, and what price it is.
Yeah, it's crazy. So if in my research as I went out and tried to understand the market, you first ask about the pricing, and you're like, wow, I'll take a Maybach for example. You'll do a full Maybach installed with usually a domestic Chinese film, but they'll do that for $1,000 US. And if you start to get to the cheaper films and shops, they'll do it for $600 US. A full Maybach install. They're doing every piece of trim full car. For an XPEL shop, because we command a premium and we're considered very high end, they're charging $1,600, $1,800 US for a full Maybach. So then if we go to the quality, because so in China, these installers, you've been there, these installers are all great installers.
Yeah.
So when I say, well, wow, what does that $600 install look like? They look at me like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, it's got to be bad. In the US, it wouldn't cover all the paint. There'd be cut marks, there'd be seams. They're like, well, it looks great. And these installers just get in there and get to work. And I've seen I used the Maybach as an example because I was at one shop in Beijing and I see 5 guys working on it. And I'm like, well, what's going on here? And they're like, oh, they're, Friday afternoon, they're trying to get out of here. And I was like, okay. And, when did the car come in? And he goes, at noon. I said, well, when are they going to have it done? He's like, probably 4:30. And so, and again, where we say that's, going too fast, you compromise quality. So I know how to install and I know quality. So I kind of go in and just say, can I observe? But I'm looking to see how it is. Great. I mean, and these guys install it like a color change, which I typically historically would call overwrapping. No, they're tucking and wrapping even a gloss wrap, and they'll show me a car that's been out on the road for 3 years, and it's fine.
That's
It's
great.
uh,
That's unbelievable. So what's next for XPEL in Asia? Where do you see the growth? Where do you see it going and navigating that market? How do you see it growing?
well, tons of opportunity. If we look at Expel's revenue, a little over half of it is in North America, so between Canada and the U.S. And then if I say that China is $1 billion market just in China, and then we go to Latin America, you and I have been to Europe, even India, we look at all these other countries in population and GDP, our growth is internationally.
Right.
So Chris Hardy, our close friend, and
Yeah.
he runs North America. I'm coming after him. I'm a competitive guy. So
So what do you in you're doing and say those numbers a little bit. So they're public knowledge.
sure,
So you've got Canada and all North America
correct,
doing 250 million,
correct. Yep,
and then everywhere else is another 250.
correct.
So the XPEL's about a 500
Right now. Yep. Well, we're
We're
at
gonna cap out
about
at
a
five,
500. Yep,
450 to 5.
yep.
And then the projections beyond that are the growth over internationally.
In my mind, and that I selfishly say that being here, we're now direct in Japan, and it's been great there. It's the same here in Australia with Miles and team,
Yep.
where once and in coming direct, it isn't to push anybody out. It's actually to serve better,
Right.
and we see that. In Thailand, we're direct, and we're off to the races there. So
The new products, like
yeah.
we've got a lot more detailing products. We've got a lot more ceramic coating products, and then now marine. Do you think marine can grow in Asia?
Yeah, definitely. There's, China's got a lot of wealth. I was just in Singapore, and boats everywhere. So, and I would argue that they probably want to protect that more than a car. I mean,
think so
some
too.
of these things are
These are, I
expensive,
mean, a boat, like some of these boats are $1 million.
right? And yeah, and you get in the million, 2 million, 3 million, and that's like boy Travis that's up in Chicago. When I visited him once, or Michigan. He was telling me like, oh, this was an $80,000 bill. This was 120,000, just coatings or film.
For a boat.
Yeah, for a boat.
But think about it. If you take the maintenance cost, I've owned boats.
Yep.
I don't own them anymore. I have friends that do.
Yep.
But you are constantly washing them. You're constantly cleaning them.
Yeah.
And especially in salt.
Yep. Yep.
So if you can take an advantage and take that maintenance cost down to like a fraction,
Yep.
that's how important the ceramic coating and the paint protection films are.
For sure. And the lifespan on these things, like when they want to get the new boat, that's coming back on the market. So, somebody just showed me here in Sydney where he's looking at a boat at a center console. And I was like, wow, that looks great. It's 20 years old. And he's like, yeah. So in maintaining that, to be able to have that lifespan, same with aircraft, right? Flying 20-year-old planes. So
Thanks for having me over here in Australia.
yeah, like you said, I'll come, I'm gonna come visit you because you never come visit me. So
The thing is, I've told you from day one since we were friends 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I said, man, we just want to travel the world on XPEL's dime.
we've done a lot.
We have, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Now, it's funny because, people go, oh, well, XPEL's paying for you to go here. And I'm like, man, I don't milk it. Like,
No.
I literally just pay for airfare.
Well, and you work. And you genuinely, it isn't even, this is my job, and then I click or check out. I watch you and you've done this everywhere. Here's my number. Give me a call. You ever need me to come back down? You genuinely are here not just to visit Australia, not to get a free ride, but to help these guys.
I want to help them so bad because I was them.
Yeah.
And no one helped me.
Yeah, 100%.
How many people helped you?
I was in Alaska by myself, man. That's why I say, like, same with the install tips and tricks, right? If we can take what took us 10, 20, 30 years to learn, we can speed you up and do it in 5.
Oh,
Yeah.
I mean, the eagerness that the people in Australia have shown me is like, they're just like, it's like learning how to read for the first time and like hearing words. It's like, they're like starving for this. And it's a great feeling. I love coming over here and making a difference.
Yep.
When I leave, I go, man, I made a difference over there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you did. It was great.
I just want to bring the noise, baby. That's what they say about Real Talk with Mike Burke. Mike Burke's, and it was funny because Miles said last night in the thing, he goes, Mike Burke brings the energy. I bring the energy.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Well, thanks for doing this. It's good to see you, my buddy.
Love you.
Checking out here from Sydney, Australia, wrapping it up. Thank you so much for everything, and see you next time.
Cheers.